Have you ever wondered what city is the top choice for luxury living between San Francisco and Silicon Valley? Here there's massive lots with lots of privacy, surrounded by greenery and a laid-back feel. It's like a getaway, yet close to everything too. I'm going to show you what sets Hillsborough apart as the most sought-after and expensive city on the North Peninsula. You'll see why it's the top at a lot of people's lists, why I think it's awesome, what the real estate is like, and what it costs. Stick around to the end and I'll show you one thing in town that's a little controversial too. I'm Raziel, Ungar, and I've ranked in the top 5 agents in San Mateo County. Every day, my team and I help buyers and sellers just like you looking to make a move within San Mateo County, and I'd love to be your Peninsula real estate resource. Give me a call or shoot me a text or email if I can help. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about Hillsborough is how beautiful it is. Wherever you go for a walk, a bike ride, pushing a stroller, or driving around the town, you'll enjoy how green it is and how well manicured it is. Most homes are on the larger side, with many that you consider to be estates or mansions that are set behind gates or farther from the street. Hillsborough is 100% residential, so there's no businesses and no downtown. In my opinion, Hillsborough has the best of both worlds. Privacy and quiet, yet it's super close to everything you could possibly need just outside the town. The northern part of Lower Hillsborough is very close and walkable to downtown Burlingame and Burlingame Avenue, which has a ton of amazing shopping and restaurant options. And if you're into bakeries, we have some excellent options including Copenhagen Bakery, Backhouse, Maison Alizé, and Cafe Central. For more about downtown Burlingame, check out my walking tour video, which will tell you everything that you need to know. Now, to give you a better idea of where Hillsborough is, it's 25 to 30 minutes south of San Francisco and bordered by Burlingame to the north and east, San Mateo Park and Baywood to the south, and the 280 freeway to the west. You're only a 5-minute drive to San Francisco Airport and a 20-minute drive to Palo Alto. Wherever you go, you'll notice there are very few utility poles, unlike most other towns on the peninsula. Here, the utility lines are pretty much buried throughout town. Hillsborough also has no sidewalks, so some streets, while not crowded, just have less safe areas to walk on the sidewalk, but you can kind of see behind me, there's some sidewalks here. Drivers are pretty respectful because of this, and there's even a coffee table book about Hillsborough called No Sidewalks Here. Hillsborough is more spread out with minimal street lighting, and sometimes the streets could be a little windier too. And the name of the town is Hillsborough, so again, no surprise there. Almost all lots in Hillsborough are at least half an acre, which is pretty amazing and unusual compared to nearby towns. I've had many clients who lived in Burlingame and were very happy there, but chose to buy here in Hillsborough just because they wanted more space than the typical 5,000 or 6,000 square foot lots. And with half an acre being a little over 21,000 square feet, it's nearly impossible to get a lot that big anywhere else in the North Peninsula. So because of all the large lots, Hillsborough is a very low density spot, which people really love. The town is 6 square miles and has a population of under 11,000 people and less than 4,000 homes. And in that 6 square miles, 238 acres are open space and cannot and will not be developed. So you just aren't seeing tons of homes everywhere. Now, when considering living in Hillsborough, the first thing you'll want to decide is whether you'll want to be in a flatter area or a hillier area, and how important is a flat lot versus a lot with some type of slope. There's a lot of nuance to this. It's so much so that for a lot of the exact same size, where you live in Hillsborough and what kind of lot you buy can affect pricing by up to several $1,000,000, which I know is crazy. When you look at a map of Hillsborough, it's hard to tell what the topography of the town looks like, but the easiest way to think about it is as you go west from El Camino up towards 280, you're going to be moving more up the hill, but within that slope, unless you're within 2 or 3 minutes west of El Camino, it's not likely you'll be in an area that's pancake flat. About halfway up the hill, the neighborhood will turn into more rolling hills, and then once you get to the top, in the Carolines neighborhood, for example, it'll kind of plateau up there and it's a lot more flat. If you prefer a flatter area where your kids can cruise around on a bike pretty easily, you'll be paying a premium for that versus more up on the hill. You'll get a lot better value and lower price per square foot. The neighborhoods to consider that will either be flat or have some smaller rolling hills would be Ryan Track, Hillsborough Heights, Hillsborough Park, the Brewer Subdivision, Home Place, Hillsborough Oaks, Hillsborough Knolls, and Country Club Manor. Now, if you want to be up in the hills a little bit more, you'd want to consider the Carolines, Lakeview, which is in the southern west part of Hillsborough, Sky Farm, and Hillsborough Hills, along with Parrot Drive area and Tobin Park Estate. Now, you might be wondering, how much does it cost to live here? Hillsborough is as expensive as it gets, and it's one of the most exclusive towns in the Bay Area, ranked alongside Atherton, Woodside, Menlo Park, Palo Alto, Portola Valley, and in Marin, it's up there with Belvedere, Ross, and Tiburon. Last year, the median home price in Hillsborough was $5,250,000, and the average was $6 million. The least expensive home sale was $2.7 million, and the highest was $17 million. However, most homes are going to sell in the mid $4 to $10 million range. In Hillsborough, between $3.5 to $4 million, but kind of closer to the low $4 million range, you'd be getting a home, which I know is not amazing, but it would have minimal or no yard, and it could need a ton of work or be a teardown. In the flats of Hillsborough, a half-acre teardown could easily easily be in the mid to high $5 million range. And in the hills of Hillsborough, kind of closer to Skyline, like in the Carolines neighborhood, for example, you could get an older but clean one-level ranch-style home. And sometimes in the low to mid $4 million range, you could get that. But these kind of go up to the mid $6 million range just for a rancher up in the Carolines. In Hillsborough, once you get to $6 million on up, you can get an older home in a flatter area or halfway up the hill, but it might need some work. But some will have some good square footage. I recently helped some clients buy an older Spanish-style home on a super rare 1.3 acre pancake flat lot with tons of privacy and a creek in the rear of the property. And that was around a $6 million transaction off market. Now, if you want more than 5 bedrooms, like a 6 or 7 bedroom home, there's fewer of those. And if you want one that's remodeled, you're gonna wanna be in the $8 million and up price range. I recently represented clients purchasing a totally remodeled home that was 4,000 square feet on a half-acre lot, and they paid a little over $8 million for it, so that was a little over $2,000 a square foot. Now, due to how expensive Hillsborough is, you'll typically see more younger families in neighboring Burlingame than in Hillsborough just because it's so expensive to live here. You'll also see many Burlingame families choose to upgrade to Hillsborough, not because they're unhappy, but because they just want more space, which is just hard to get in Burlingame. Sometimes they'll give up a flat and walkable location in Burlingame and be willing to be more up in the hills in Hillsborough, so it's just kind of a trade-off. Another reason people move to Hillsborough is for the fantastic public schools. Hillsborough has 3 public elementary schools. North Hillsborough Elementary, which is on the corner of Eucalyptus and Ralston and bordered by New Place Road and the golf course to the north. South Hillsborough Elementary, which is surrounded by El Cerrito Avenue, Stonehenge, and Bridge Road, and West Elementary School, which is way up in the hills in the Carolines neighborhood at the corner of Barbara Way and Hayne Road. The middle school is Crocker, which is relatively small at 441 students, especially when you compare it to nearby BIS, Burlingame Intermediate School, which has about 1,000 kids. Hillsborough has per capita funding of about $15,000 per student per year, which I believe is the highest in the county. The Hillsborough School Foundation raises a little over $3 million a year, and these funds are used in the classroom. Hillsborough also has several renowned private schools. Crystal Springs Upland Schools, which is 6th through 12th grade, which is set on the campus of an old estate and has another campus just a little bit south of Hillsborough, and also Nueva, which is kindergarten through 12th grade. Be prepared to shell out the big bucks though, as tuition is $50,000 and up per year. For enjoying the outdoors, you're ground zero for having so many options. I love riding my bike through Hillsborough because there's just less traffic than almost anywhere else. It's so pretty, and I love all the hills and trees that are here. It's worth mentioning that all of the schools have large field areas, and even though it's super private, there's the Burlingame Country Club, which I know is kind of ironic because that's the name and it's in Hillsborough, but it anchors the lower part, the flat part actually, of North Lower Hillsborough. Hillsborough also has a recreation center on Ralston right next to Crocker Middle School. Hillsborough's biggest and signature event of the year is the Hillsborough Concours d'Elegance, which is a massive car show that happens every June, celebrating excellence in automotive design and engineering. It's actually the longest running concours in the world, with tens of millions of dollars in vehicles present on the fairways of the Crystal Springs Golf Course, just off of 280. All proceeds from the concours go to support 2 local nonprofits. The other big community event in Hillsborough is the Memorial Day Festival, which has a parade, music, and just a great time. Now, for that thing that not everyone loves and is a little controversial, perhaps the most interesting and random thing in Hillsborough is something that us locals call the Flintstone House. When you're driving on 280 North and you look out to the right, you see a home that looks like it's straight out of the cartoon series, The Flintstones. The house was designed by architect William Nicholson and built in 1976 as one of several experimental dome buildings using new materials, and it was on the market just a few years ago, so I had an opportunity to see it. The owner has done a fabulous job continuing the tradition of the original owner, though not everyone in town loves it because it's so different. There's a couple fascinating pieces of local history that I must tell you about. The first is the Carolines Mansion. This is a massive private home built in 1916, and it has 4.5 floors, 98 rooms on almost 6 acres. This sold in 2009 for $26 million and was appraised in 2023 for $130 million, and it's listed on the National Registry of Historic Places and is a California state landmark. Another neat piece of real estate is the Western White House on El Cerrito Road, recently listed by my colleagues Alex and Pierre Boljan, which had a listing price of $15 million. For more about neighboring cities in San Mateo County, check out my videos on Burlingame, San Mateo, San Carlos, Belmont, Foster City, and more. If you're thinking about selling a house or you're looking to buy a home anywhere in San Mateo County, my team and I want to be your real estate resource of choice, whether that's in Hillsborough or anywhere else nearby. Reach out on my website or shoot me a text or email, and I'll see you guys on the next video.